What's up, guys? Emergency movie review here. I just got home from watching the new Deadpool movie, and it was really bad. In my opinion, of course. If you go and ask IMDb or any of the million soy chugging movie reviewers out there, they're probably going to give it an 8 out of 10 or whatever else because they love Marvel movies for some reason. I hate to be one of those like cape shit kind of people who like criticize all superhero movies as being bad. Listen, I like superhero movies as much as the next guy. But listen, last three superhero movies I've watched, including this one, have all been bad, mostly for the same reasons, right? And I don't think I'm gonna go and watch another one unless it seems different from what's currently happening. But let's talk about specifically this movie. So I went to see this movie because I thought it might have had some potential. I watched the trailer, and for the first time in a long time, since Avengers Endgame, I thought that Marvel might be cooking. I thought they might be making a film which actually intrigues me personally, that makes me want to watch it. Because I was really unenthused with Marvel movies after I watched what was it, fucking Far From Home? I don't know what the name of these movies are. I don't give a shit. Their newest Spider-Man movie. After I watched that, I was really discouraged from watching another Marvel movie because it was aggressively mediocre, nostalgia bait, essentially, that could have done something actually like really cool than a good Spider-Man story, but instead they wasted three of my hours on worse versions of Spider-Man movies I've already seen and watched since I was literally a little kid. I watched Amazing Spider-Man 1 when I was like, before I was 10. I watched that when I was so young, I don't even remember the experience of watching the movie. That's how young I was when I watched that movie, and it did nothing to improve upon it. They just shoved it in there, for nostalgia, some member berries, I guess, and it just wasted my time. So I really was not excited. But, I watched the trailer of this movie, and I thought maybe, they could have been cooking. Maybe they could have, made something kind of cool. Made a cool movie of, Deadpool. Knock the camera. It could have made a cool movie of, Deadpool and Wolverine kicking each other's asses. I thought that might be a fun movie, so me and my uncle went to watch it, and it was bad. Okay, it was worse than Spider-Man Home Depot or whatever the fuck the movie's name is. It was worse, much worse than the newest Spider-Verse movie. I made an entire rambling, kind of mediocre video talking about why I didn't like that one. But at least that movie was kind of like competent. It had nice looking. At least it looked nice. At least it didn't have absolutely terrible CGI that looked like a PlayStation 2 game. At least they put some effort into how the movie looked. Unlike this film, this sequence of photographs. I watched it. It was bad. All right, I guess I'm going to avoid spoilers here and not just go through the entire movie because honestly, who cares about the plot of the newest Deadpool movie? If you really want to know what happens, go watch the movie yourself. It's still in theaters. But I'm going to tell you why I thought it was aggressively not entertaining. Number one, it is so unfunny. Literally, the entire movie is Ryan Reynolds, and I'm not going to call him Deadpool. It's Ryan Reynolds making unfunny jokes about jerking off or having gay sex or something. He is not funny. Quite the opposite, in fact. He actually made me kind of annoyed because of the soy-chugging Marvel fans and 9-year-olds in the audience laughing after every awful dick joke he made. They cackled. They were like, "Yeah, he said the F word, guys. He said the F word. That's really funny." There was a literal 9-year-old in the film audience, by the way, wearing a Deadpool audience. From this point onwards, I'm going to associate this movie, especially its sense of humor, with retarded 9-year-olds who have who have not experienced the internet, for any longer than a year. They got their first iPad when they're 8, and they haven't heard their first F word. And they go to this movie, and their mind is blown. because he says the F word and makes mediocre sex jokes. It's just not funny. It was more entertaining listening to my uncle call Ryan Reynolds gay and say that he's queer or whatever than actually watching him make the jokes. Because all he does is just blabber on. He does not stop yapping. And I know that's like his personality or something, and he's like annoying to the other characters in the movie, but he shouldn't be annoying to the audience. He should only be annoying to the characters in the movie. He was just like actually not funny. He just kept talking, and none of it was clever. It was just like he said fuck in every sentence. He kept making just inserting sex jokes. And listen, I have nothing against either of those things. The problem is that in this movie, it's just done really poorly. It's just not great. He's just annoying, and he undercuts every suspenseful moment or any point where there's like a nice drama with one of his unfunny jokes. He just keeps making them, and it's bad. He's just not funny. He's simply not funny. This is a trend actually in these movies, these superhero movies, where they make fun of you for trying to get invested in the movie they made. I saw this in Spider-Verse. They build the tension, and then they have some dumbass joke to just break the suspense and make you feel like an idiot for caring, for getting invested in the movie that they're making. They just shit on you for it. And they turn the entire thing into a joke, like how you're stupid for wanting to watch a captivating film with good drama and suspense. I love Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. I know I seem like that guy, the worst type of person, who watches these damn superhero movies. And the reason why I like it, it's not because it has like a colorful superhero kicking people's butts and it has bad CGI and jokes. I like it because it has good characters and it has a good plot and it has good character drama that's captivating and interesting. And none of these movies have that. And if they do, they're trying too hard to make these dog shit Joss Whedon quips to actually let you see it. They can't just let the movie be funny. They have to insert these terrible, terrible Joss Whedon quips to just destroy all suspense and tension. And it's not just Deadpool in this movie that makes it just incredibly bad. The entire film is just nostalgia bait. Just like Spider-Man Home Depot or whatever the fucking movie is called. Okay? Just like that film. The entire movie is dedicated to nostalgia bait. They have the Juggernaut. Remember the Juggernaut from X-Men 3? They have Blade for some reason. Elektra, is that her name? I don't know, but she's in the movie. You remember Logan? You remember that character? You remember the Wolverine played by Hugh Jackman? Well, we got him back, even though we killed him 7 years ago. Was it 7? I don't know when the movie came out, like 2017. I was 10 years old, all right? So yeah, it would have been 7 years ago. They killed him 7 years ago, and now they're bringing him back for nostalgia bait. They have all this terrible nostalgia bait, and none of it makes any sense because it's all contrived nonsense. They have this like fucking like British guy who controls the timelines and whatever, and Deadpool is always talking about like, we gotta save my universe. My only motivation to do anything is wanting to get back with my stripper wife, girlfriend, whatever she is. That's my only motivation. I have no interesting character traits or no interesting motivations. I just want to impress my girlfriend, and he keeps blabbering on about that, and that's why he wants to save his universe or whatever, and he keeps talking about it. They get thrown into like the void or something. They get like the fucking the Human Torch from the old Fantastic Four movies. For some reason, they just It's so bad. It's just so terrible. They just get a bunch of shit that, you thought was cool when you were 10 years old, something from the 2000s, that actually tried at least maybe a little bit, and they all just like shove it into this movie. It's all contrived nonsense. They get thrown like into this like it's like that one episode of The Amazing World of Gumball where they go into this alternate dimension. That's like all everything useless to society, or like the timeline or whatever. This movie copied The Amazing World of Gumball, and they made it worse. Because at least in that show, it was like a joke, And I know it's a joke here, but it's not a funny one. It's not a funny joke. Just a bunch of contrived nostalgic like dribble. It doesn't make any sense. It's hard to get invested in the movie because Deadpool keeps making like all of these references to the fact that it is a movie. Like this does not make any sense unless you view it through this like meta-ironic bullshit where it's like, whoa, he's talking about the movie as if he's in a movie. Like, oh yeah, he mentions the title music. He makes jokes. He breaks the fourth wall. It's hilarious. It's not like we've been doing this for the past 10 years. Past 14 years. I don't even know how long this terrible, god-awful trend of like Joss Whedon quips, and meta-ironic multiverse shit. I don't know how long we've actually been having to deal with that, but this movie, it just does that. It just does that. It's not funny. It brings nothing to the table. It doesn't try to have any good drama or suspense, which, is what I want to watch in a movie, especially if the jokes are not funny, I cannot understand how this movie has an 8 out of 10 on IMDb. It's so bad. This is just a bad movie, The action isn't good. I thought the movie was going to be about Deadpool and Wolverine kicking each other's ass. It's not. It's not actually about that. They only fight twice, and both times it's undercut, it's short, and also the action is bad. The CGI is terrible. They have painted on blood, basically, fake looking blood. There's a part where the Living Torch, from Fantastic Four, in the 2000s has his skin removed, and then all of his muscles and bones looks like a PlayStation 2 model, and it looks distractingly just awful. They're just terrible. This movie is just bad. I'm gonna put it simple. We're past the 10-minute mark. It doesn't matter anymore, guys. My epic hot take about Marvel movies. I've already said it. It's not funny. There's nothing to be invested in or like. They just bring back a new version of the Wolverine for some reason. Expect us to give a shit about his personal struggles, even though he was just introduced. I don't care. I don't care about this new Wolverine. I haven't seen any other X-Men movie besides from the first one from the year 2000. Why do I need to watch all of the X-Men movie plus Fantastic Four to understand all of these references and Deadpool number 3? This is the third movie in the Deadpool franchise, and in order to understand the references, you need to watch the entirety of X-Men plus Blade, shitty Daredevil spinoff, and Fantastic Four. Like, who's gonna watch all this shit unless you're like a Redditor who knows all of this? There's a bunch of terrible nostalgia bait garbage, terrible looking. It was created by slave labor VFX artists who are underpaid for their job, worked to death. Okay, it's not funny. It's written by some soy-chugging millennial who thinks that in the year 2024, the year of our Lord, making jokes about the woke mob and cancel culture and male-allied feminists is still funny, which it's not. And they think making jokes about the Fox, the acquisition of Fox, which happened 5 years ago, and they're making jokes about it. I don't give a shit. It happened 5 years ago. Okay? Everything in this movie is just like not entertaining. Actually, let me give you a couple things that I liked about it. I liked Hugh Jackman. I don't think he gave a shit. I don't really think he cared that much. He had his piece. He got his bag. He did some good movies. 20 years ago. And, I heard Logan was good. I haven't seen it yet. I wish I was watching Logan instead of this movie because I referenced it in this movie for some reason. When you're making a bad movie, I don't understand why you want to reference movies that are actually enjoyable. I feel like that'd probably just make people leave the movie and watch something else, but whatever. Whatever. This is just a bad movie. It's just bad. I don't know. 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10. I don't give a shit. Who cares? It's Deadpool versus Wolverine. If this was made by any other studio besides for Marvel, people would shit on it. The Flash movie, I haven't seen it. I heard it's bad. I heard it's really bad, and I believe them. And you know what? People don't like it. It has a pretty bad reputation, and it looks deserved, with everything surrounding that. I'm not going to get into it. It was panned. Okay, good. Justice League, shitty movie. Everyone hates it. Okay, good. Wonder Woman 1984, whatever the fuck the movie's name is. Apparently that was bad. Okay, it's canned. Bunch of other terrible nostalgia bait dog shit movies. Matrix Reloaded. That was a bad movie. It was panned. No one likes it. But with these Marvel movies, they can make terrible nostalgia bait garbage and get millions of dollars off of it and have soy-chugging Redditors still give it positive ratings on IMDb when the movie is just bad. There's nothing good about this movie or the last Spider-Man movie made by Marvel. The last Spider-Verse movie was just all right. Okay? And for some reason, everybody likes them because it's made by Marvel. I thought we were past this. I thought we were past the Marvel hype, but Marvel can still just pump out mediocre slop. They can just still make slop, nostalgia bait garbage. Terrible nostalgia bait movies that instead of doing anything like nice or like interesting or original, they just repackage, they just reference some shit you liked when you were in the 4th grade. And they put it in their movie, and they expect you to eat it up like a good little Redditor. And these people do. And no one criticizes these movies for being bad, which they are. These are bad movies. This and the last Spider-Man movie, these were bad, egregiously bad. But for some reason, no one criticizes them for it. Unlike the other Marvel movies that are bad, which there are plenty of, but people still criticize them for some reason, but these movies aren't criticized nearly to the same degree as Marvel movies, which don't have Deadpool or Spider-Man. And I don't understand why, because these are not good movies. These movies are slop, all right, and they're nostalgia bait. I keep saying it, but there's nothing to this movie. If they have the gall at the end of the movie to play clips from the first X-Men movie, a movie that actually gave a shit and did something new. I watched that movie when I was younger, and I would much rather be watching X-Men 1 from the year 2000 than this film. Okay? Stop reminding me of movies that are actually good, okay? Disney Corporation. Alright? Stop reminding me of movies that I might actually want to watch instead of this just mediocre garbage. I am not going back to a movie theater and watching another Marvel movie, because I did it. I've done it the last 3 times, and every time I came out disappointed. I did not even have high expectations going into this movie. I thought it would probably just be okay or mediocre, and I came out thinking that it was bad. Okay? My expectations were not high, and they still disappointed me. And I don't have... I'm not a hard person, okay, to make happy. I watched the Super Mario movie, and I thought it was good. I like the Super Mario movie. You want to know why? Because it doesn't just make jokes. It at least tries to be an actual movie. It's a movie about a guy, normal guy who wants to be great, and he goes on a quest or whatever. And at the end of the movie, he's a hero. They don't insert a bunch of just terrible jokes. They have tension. It's not a great movie. It's not a great movie. Hell, you can probably argue that it's not a good movie. But it's a movie. It's actually a movie and not just a collection of like shit, just like film, like things, like characters from movies from 20 years ago repackaged for soy chugging Redditors. It's like at least an actual movie. So I am not going back to the movie theater and wasting my uncle or aunt's money to watch this garbage. Okay, it's so over. No more Marvel movies for Emo Slur on YouTube.com. And I hate to say that because I've liked the Marvel movies my entire life. I grew up watching Spider-Man movies. I loved the Adventures growing up. I liked Iron Man. All right. I like superhero movies. I am a nerd. All right. I like this shit. Okay. But I've been nothing but disappointed in my last 3 viewing experiences watching these. So I am not going to go back to the theater and waste anyone's money to watch this garbage, okay? It's only gonna get worse. Because this movie probably made a shit zillion dollars, and it has like an 8 out of 10 on IMDb for some reason, and I bet a bunch of, Reddit movie reviewers, Jeremy Johns. Listen, I don't even hate that guy. Okay, I watched him when I was a kid. He's probably a good guy, but I know for a fact he gave this movie a positive rating, even though it's bad, okay? That's just my opinion, though. If you liked this movie for some reason, that's all right. Tell me in the comments. Please, it helps the engagement in my YouTube video. Tell me in the comments, please. I promise my next video, which I will upload, might actually have more effort put into it. This is a completely unedited rant, which really isn't that much worse than everything else I made. But I am editing an actual video, so yeah. Tune back in. Unless you think I'm annoying and retarded, then you can just leave, I guess. I'm fine with that. And just let me have my 46 subscribers. I don't know. Whatever. Goodbye. And this video is probably going to have a really bad like to dislike ratio. Goodbye.